DATV, and the Greater Dayton Area League of Women Voters present Meet the Candidates.
Hi, I'm Peggy Berry. I am a member of the League of Women Voters of the Greater Dayton area. I'm here today with candidates running for the office of Yuba Heights Mayor. There are 3 candidates running for Yuba Heights Mayor, and these candidates are Jeffrey Gore, Ed Lyons, and Glenn Otto. We will start our interview by having the candidates tell us about themselves and why they want to serve in the position of Yuba Heights Mayor. It will be 1 minute each. Ed, we want to start with you.
Oh, thank you, Peggy, and thank you for the League of Women Voters who's putting on this forum. I am currently serving my 10th year on City Council, and I believe that with the 10 years on Council, I just have the opportunity and the experience to be the mayor that Yuba Heights deserves. I'm looking for the situation where we are dealing with what I believe in open, honest, and transparent government. I believe in great fire and police departments, along with exceptional leadership through open, honest, and transparent records, as I've mentioned, focusing on people, not politics.
Well, thank you, Mr. Lyons. Okay, Mr. Otto.
Yes, thank you, Peggy. And as Ed stated, thank you to the League of Women's Voters for holding this. Appreciate it. My name is Glenn Otto. I was born in Dayton, raised in Beaver Creek, and military took me around the world and brought me back home where I met my wife. And we decided to move to Yuba Heights in '94. We've raised 3 children here in this community. We love the community. We've established a business in this community as well. And it's just been a pleasure since we've been here to serve the community through many types of volunteer efforts, interaction with different community things and whatnot. And at this point, I have also served on Yuba Heights City Council for about 6 years now. And I also believe that I could make a great impact as the mayor. I think it's time that we start to open our ears a little bit more to our people, listen, and give them the things that they've been asking for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otto. Mr. Gore.
Yes, thank you, Peggy. And also thanks again to the League of Women Voters for putting this forum on. I am the current mayor of Yuba Heights, running for re-election. I'm 49 years old. I was raised in Yuba Heights. I graduated from Wayne High School in 1990, also an Army veteran. I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, have a master's degree in education. I'm currently a government and history teacher at Wayne High School. And prior to following my passion to teach, I worked several years in the financial services industry. And, I realize as being the current mayor, I believe we have had an open, honest, and transparent government. I believe we have been listening to the citizens. We have been growing with unprecedented growth in our residential sectors both. And I think we are on a great path to success. And I would like to continue being the mayor so we can finish what we started.
Thank you, Mr. Gore. I will be asking you all questions. You will have 2 minutes for response. And I will start with Mr. Gore. The American Rescue Plan will provide Yuba Heights with an estimate of $7.4 million. What would your priorities be for utilizing these funds?
Well, I think knowing the money that we have coming, I believe it's about $3.75 million in 2021 and another $3.75 million in 2022. I think we really need to focus on some infrastructure. It's no secret that we have some traffic issues. We have some things going on Old Troy Pike in between Taylorsville and I-70. We have more commercial growth coming. We have plans that have been submitted for some more residential and commercial growth along that way. And I think that it would be great if we could focus some of that money on taking care of some of those traffic problems, because that is, some people don't believe it's a problem. We have others that do, but I think That's us listening to the residents and what they want. And so along those lines, we've had some other issues with the freeze and thaw cycle. We've had some of our older infrastructure in terms of our water pipes damage. We've had some water main breaks. So I think we need to reinvest in some of that infrastructure as well. We do have a program going on now where we are lining some of those sewer and water line pipes, but I think we might need to repair those areas that we know are older, that we know have problems, so we're not just continually repairing. I'd also like to see us also add some of the money into our internal streets program. I know we have lots of issues with some of our older streets and curbs that are in disrepair, and we currently set aside about $1.5 million a year out of our current budget in order to take care of our internal streets. But I believe that with some of this additional money, we might be able to go ahead and add some extra funding to that streets program over the next couple of years. So infrastructure and certainly working on the traffic issue is what I'd like to see us focus some of that money on. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gar. Mr. Otto, what do you think your priorities would be to utilize these funds?
Well, thank you for asking, Peggy. I have to agree with the mayor on one point specifically, and that's infrastructure. We definitely have a dire need for infrastructure improvements. We've made great strides over the past several years in putting more money into our streets programs and our repair programs for water, sewer pipes, and things of that nature. We did institute a water softening program, which was a great step forward, I think, for our community in general. But infrastructure is big. We really can't focus on that nearly enough today. I think it's very common amongst many cities that infrastructure needs are very important. And depending on what we can use this money for, assuming no strings attached, I'd like to see a lot of it go towards revitalization in certain parts of our community as well. I feel that there are parts of our community that have been neglected over the years, haven't received the focus that other parts have seen. I feel that our city has had a great focus on growth. And I think at this point in time, we need to back away from growth for growth's sake and focus on getting better, not bigger. We have a lot of repairs and a lot of improvements that need to be made throughout our community to provide what the residents expect from us. So I think that's going to be the big focus of that money for me. So I don't need the full 2 minutes. That's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otto. Mr. Lyons, the American Rescue Plan will provide Huber Heights with about $7.4 million. What would be your priorities to utilize these funds?
Thank you, Peggy. The American Rescue Plan is just designed to help get the economy back on its feet. And I think in 2021, we're looking to really explode as a nation in Huber Heights, state of Ohio. I do agree with both of the candidates that infrastructure is going to be very important. The improvement of roads, new roads to reduce and mitigate the traffic construction that we have and the issues. Also, economic development to bring jobs into the area and to help out as much as possible. Specifically, we're in the process of redeveloping Marion Shopping Center. We're looking at having a library right there to bring in a lot of foot traffic, potentially some city offices. So that construction will bring workers and jobs to the area. One area that is very near and dear to my heart is a few years ago, we had opened Fire Station 25. And since then, we have added 3 additional firefighters to that station. And it helps improve our response times to north of 70, as well as response times throughout all of Huber. But in standing up Fire Station 25, it takes 9 firefighters to do that. And while we have coverage and we've had additional 3 firefighters, I'm looking at spending some of that money to add even another 3 additional firefighters to our ranks. And I believe that will help improve part of the infrastructure through the fire department and our response times as well, and bring that kind of quality to the citizens and residents of Huber Heights.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. The next question is, and Ed, we will go right to you with this question since you were last. What principles should guide Heber Heights to balance the needs of the economic development and the maintaining the quality of life that the residents value?
Well, the principles are that the economy and our economic development, we want to continue to grow in Heber Heights. Our tagline is "Come grow with us." So that kind of economic development is important for our future. But with that, the quality that we have to maintain, traffic is certainly one, but at the same time, helping to keep our taxes low. One of our economic development dreams came to reality with the Rose Music Center. In our last full year of operation, we made over $1 million profit. That's after cost. That's also after split with our management company. So that's an incredible driving force that really does add the quality of life to our residents. I mentioned previously the Marion Shopping Center. That would be really needed to be redeveloped. And the city has just come into the contracts to purchase that property. But we do need to focus on the residents as well during this time. Decrease the problems with our traffic, of course, in certain areas. We're rebuilding roads. We're adding new additional roads, widening them, doing the same for bridges in the area. Once those are done, that will help mitigate some of the traffic congestions that we have. But overall, yes, keeping an eye on economic development while the quality of life is important to our residents in Heber Heights.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Mr. Gore, what principles should guide Heber Heights to balance the needs of the economic development and maintaining the quality of life that the residents value?
I think the first thing is being fiscally responsible. We have grown our general fund over the last 3 years, according to the last CAFR report, from $9 million to $14 million. So we have been very fiscally responsible. I think the citizens should know that, you know, we have spent the majority of our time running our city like a business with a balance sheet, as opposed to just a government entity that feels that there's never-ending dollars. So I think, number one, it's a balance of fiscal responsibility in our spending, but making sure that the money that we are spending is benefiting the residents in terms of, the Rose Music Center and the Aquatic Center, and, making sure we were able to spend the money in the right way to revitalize the southern portion of the city, which, the library our residents have been paying taxes for a library for 7 years. And it wasn't until just within the last 12 months that we've got them to agree to purchase a portion of the Marion Meadows Shopping Center, now known as South Point Crossing, for $1 million. So we have made smart investments. We've spent our money in a smart way that's going to bring about balanced growth in all parts of the city. So I think we really have to balance the money on growth. Our principles need to be on growth and smart growth, and then they also have to be on infrastructure. So I do think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I think we can grow, and I think we can spend money on infrastructure, and the growth that we're receiving and that we're showing is providing the money that we can also use to spend on infrastructure to make sure that people know when they turn the water on, the pipes aren't going to go, right? That's one of the biggest issues that we've had. So, and that our roads aren't crumbling and the curbs aren't crumbling. So yes, we can balance that money with growth, smart growth, traffic management, and infrastructure spending. And we can still maintain fiscal responsibility and continue to grow our general fund.
Thank you, Mr. Gore. Mr. Otto, what principles should guide Heber Heights to balance the needs of the economic development and maintaining the quality of life the residents value?
Well, I think that first and foremost, we need more active involvement with the entire community. We need to reach out to our residents, our business community, reestablish some relationships that have soured a bit over the years, and understand that we are representatives to the people of this community. We're not simply legislators. Excuse me. We have to start working for our residents while working with those other people that surround us, our staff, other regional and local organizations. And at that point, providing focus on some of the things that residents want and desire. I believe the Marion Meadows Shopping Center revitalization has been brought up, and I think that's extremely important that we move forward on that and give residents what they've asked for. We did a very long study in 2017, which I chaired the committee on, and the residents spoke loudly on what they want to see there. I think if we look to make those improvements that they're asking for, and again, improving the entire community through infrastructure needs and improvements, I think we're going to attract the type of natural growth that we're looking for, rather than going out and just purely looking for that growth. To that point, again, more service and products to our residents will buffer the community from the standpoint of how it looks visually, a lot of revitalization, and we'll attract those people that we want to see. I think those things will walk hand in hand, and we'll move forward without really even trying, if we just focus on the people and giving them what they want.
Thank you, Mr. Otto.
Thank you.
Okay, last question. What concerns do you see regarding the development of the Marion Shopping Center? And how do you think they should be handled? And Mr. Gore, I'm going to start with you on that question. Mr. Gore?
So for a long time, our residents have, yep, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, so
you're
for a
freezing
long
little.
time, as long as I can remember, okay, how about that? Is that any better? Yeah, I'm
That's
showing
better.
Okay,
Sorry.
I have a full signal here, so I'm not sure what that. So for a long time, our residents have always been asking for revitalization and for reinvestment and a focus in the southern portion of the city. And with this Marion Meadows Shopping Center, it's exactly what we're doing. We have decided to invest the money in that particular area. And I think we can use that model of success to continue to move further on down Brant, further into the southern portion of the city. I do know there's some concerns because we've had some initial kind of drawings and conceptual plans that showed some possible apartments there, some government buildings, the library, some outlots for possibly some restaurants and dining and things like that. But as far as development goes, this is all market driven. We will never know what the complete outcome is going to be until the full plan is in place, and this is marketed to developers, and they're going to put there and develop there what they believe is going to sell and going to be the best use of the space. I do believe that the money and the real estate purchases that we've made there will eventually be a no cost to the taxpayers by the time this is all phased in and we start to see the rewards coming back in the terms of revenue and tax dollars back into the city. So it's been this way for a long time. I used to ride my bike up and down there when I was a kid in that area. And that shopping center has been pretty rough for a few years. And we know that's what the residents are asking for. And that is continued or more redevelopment, more focus on development and infrastructure in the southern portion of the city. Exactly what
Thank
this
you.
project.
Now I have to move on. Mr. Lyons, can you please discuss what concerns do you see regarding the development of the Marion Shopping Center and how do you think they should be handled?
Yes, Peggy. Again, thank you. I kind of felt Jeff's pain there with some technical problems. I had the same problem when I had my initial introduction speech. My screen went blank. So hopefully we'll continue to have good communication. The Marion Shopping Center is a wonderful project that the city has purchased the land towards. It's a development for redevelopment south of 70. The question is, what is my concern? The plan itself is to be actually a net cost of zero, maybe even making a little bit of money, but that takes some development. And the city spent money in the future growth of that area. So with the anchor of the library, perhaps some city offices there as well. We can use the American Rescue Act, some of that money to help advertise and bring some businesses in. that will be beneficial to all of us. If it helps increase the tax base, keeping the actual taxes down for residents to have to pay for, I think that's win-win for everyone. And I know how long the Marion Shopping Center has needed to be redeveloped. I'm glad that we're in the position to be able to do that. And I've been a complete supporter of that, as well as the rest of council currently. So my biggest concern would probably be the time that it takes to do that. It just takes a little bit of time, as all development does. But since the city owns the property, that time's coming sooner as opposed to later, hopefully.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Mr. Otto, what concerns do you see regarding the development of the Marion Shopping Center, and how do you think they should handle it?
Thank you for asking, Peggy. As already stated, that area of our town has been an eyesore for quite some time, and residents have asked for, or even demanded, that we do something to improve that area of Huber Heights. My only concern on that is that we don't listen and we look more towards developers coming in and putting forward to us what they would like to see down there from an income opportunity. I don't want to see that focus there. The reason I stepped up and said I was okay with purchasing this property and redeveloping this property is because I believe that we were going to follow the desires of our residents and look to create a place in Huber Heights that would be walkable, a social area for folks. And the money was not really what I was looking at. I think we will get that back in the long run if we provide what's needed. I'm very thrilled that the library has made their final decision on where to go. I think they were looking at that all along, and I appreciate that. I'm excited about that project. I think that putting a small municipal building in there to house our tax and water offices is a great idea. But outside of that, we need to be very highly focused again on providing the things that will give our residents pride in our community and give them that gem in the center of our city that they can really stand up and be proud of. I think if we do those things, the talk of taxes and income is a moot issue because it will come on its own. We provide the things that we need to provide. The other things will take care of themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otto. In closing, we would like to provide each candidate with time in a closing statement for 2 minutes. Mr. Otto, please.
Thank you, Peggy. Outside of what we've already discussed, I don't know what more I can really say. I am excited for this opportunity. I think I am fully ready to accept this and get to work. As most people know, I have plenty of time to dedicate to this. I'm looking forward to bolstering and increasing relationships with other community organizations and outside regional organizations, things of the sort, reestablishing relationships with organizations, and listening to people to bring them what they want for our community. We grew as a bedroom community originally, which made us very close-knit, and people know each other. People are very friendly. I refer to this city as a big, small town. We all know each other, but at 40,000 residents, we're a bit large, but it just doesn't feel that way. And I think we really need to push back to our roots, being representatives to those who elect us, listening, allowing them the opportunity to provide input for the direction of our city, and simply providing those things that they can't provide for themselves. I would like to see increased attention to our Parks and Recreation Department. I think we've made great strides there, but I think we can do more. I think we could also look to improve on some other community services, such as our senior center. We now have recently opened a community center, which we could provide great focus to provide residents opportunities, and continue to expand and improve on the things that we have going in our Arts and Beautification Department and Parks and Rec Department as far as activities and whatnot throughout the city. I look forward to the opportunity, and I would just like to thank you for your time and thank the League of Women's Voters and DATV for providing this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Otto. Mr. Lyons.
Thank you, Peggy. My name is Ed Lyons, and I'm running for mayor. I'm a candidate with 10 years experience on council. I'm married with 3 teenagers living in Huber Heights over 20 years. And I am running because I believe in great fire and police departments, economic development for our future, exceptional leadership through open, honest, and transparent government, focusing on people, not politics. Those words are important to me, as is this community. I think I can be the mayor that our community deserves. And with that, Peggy, I can't thank you enough for giving this opportunity to all of us. Thank you for the League of Women Voters, always an outstanding organization working towards really good voting turnout in each election. I'd like to thank all the viewers. May God bless you, and roar for Huber Heights.
Thank you, Mr. Lyons. Mr. Gore, your closing statement?
Yes, thank you, Peggy. So one thing I would like to say, I'm very happy that both of my opponents have agreed that Huber Heights has been doing very successful and been doing very well over the past 3 years that I've been the mayor. So I think we can all agree that we have seen some great successes. So thank you to both of them for acknowledging that. What I'd also like to say here is that, we have experienced unprecedented growth over the last 3 years in our commercial and residential sectors. Huber Heights is the 6th fastest growing city in the state of Ohio right now, based on the survey that was done by U-Haul Corporation. We've seen an 18% growth in our residential home values, which means that the largest single investment that most of us will ever make is increasing in value more than we've ever seen in recent history. We've grown our general fund from $9 million to $14 million in the last 3 years, again, based on the most recent CAFR report. Every major project that this city has undertaken has a revenue stream coming into the city that pays for that debt service. So we're not deficit spending. I know some people believe that we are. We've talked about our financial stability for quite some time, and everyone needs to know that every major project has a revenue stream coming into our funds, into our city, that covers those expenses. We do have a history of running our city like a business with a balance sheet, and I really believe that's been the key to our success thus far. I'll finish by saying that voters elected me 4 years ago because I had a vision for economic growth, and I'd ask them now to re-elect me based on my results so we can finish what we started. Thank you, Peggy, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for this forum and providing us all an opportunity to speak. Appreciate it, and thank you, and God bless.
Thank you. And thank you so much for your participation today, and good luck with your campaigns. The League of Women Voters encourages all candidates to run an issues-oriented campaign. Our goal is to educate the voting public and strengthen our elective political processes. A virtual voter's guide will be available on our website by mid-April. Early voting for the upcoming primary began yesterday on April 6th, and you can access via the Board of Elections, or you can request an absentee ballot. However, you decide to vote. Your opinion matters and helps make our democracy work. Thank you all.